and welcome to another Fiscal News.
Today you will hear the most important fiscal news for the last 3 months.
Stay tuned.
Novelties regarding VAT return in Albania. From July 1st, 2022, the VAT return and the books of sales and purchases are automatically filled by the fiscalization system. The central invoice platform in Albania consists of a sales book and a purchases book for every taxpayer of fiscalization. These books are based on the invoices submitted to the Central Tax Administration. So far, every taxpayer who issues an invoice had to manually review their data in the books no later than the 10th of the month following the month in which the invoices are issued and received. The taxpayers had to manually supplement this data with additional information, if necessary, and finally confirm the accuracy of the data. From July 1st, the sales book and purchases book, as well as the VAT return request form, will be filled in automatically according to the data stored in the fiscalization system. The General Directorate of Taxes also announced that throughout June, taxpayers will be offered a space dedicated for them to report any problems encountered during manual submissions of this data in the menus Purchase Book item and Sales Book item.
This service can be used to communicate with the French tax authority, since the allowed volume of documents is much higher than the volume allowed to be received through the tax agent's official email address. The service is simple to use, with a drag and drop feature with added security measures. The documents uploaded to the tax authority via France Transferred will stay available to download for a month. This tool was introduced to limit the usage of third-party sharing services and ease correspondence with the authorities in a secure way.
New cash registers have been introduced in Greece to prevent tax evasion and enhance transparency, since previous cash registers were vulnerable to skimming. The latest generation of secure ECRs is electronic online cash registers, which allows the tax administration to analyze the data through advanced analysis techniques to reveal patterns that indicate a higher risk of misuse of the tax register and underwriting of transactions. As more data is collected from the registers over time, the quality and efficiency of the algorithms in detecting anomalies for further investigation improve. The project, as a part of the National Recovery Plan, is due somewhere in June 2024, as the authorities have mentioned, probably by the end of June 2024. Future changes that are expected in Greece in terms of interconnection of POS and cash registers and data transfer to tax administration. The interconnection of cash registers with POS and AADE puts businesses and tax audits in a digital environment, with the central concern of enhancing transparency of transactions and fight against tax evasion, primarily in the areas of activity where cash registers are not mandatory, such as gyms, car rentals, parkings, etc. Companies will receive vouchers to replace thousands of cash registers and 100,000 POS devices, but also to create e-shops and cloud storage spaces. In the second phase, AADE will work on the integration of artificial intelligence, which will also curb tax evasion and uncover individual tax evasion cases. Greece extends again temporary reduced VAT until 31st December 2022. Greece has lately announced a third extension of the temporary cut in the reduced value-added tax rate on certain goods from 24% to 13%. The rate will now not return to normal until 31st December 2022 from current information. The latest extension states that the reduced rates will apply until 1st of January 2023. The affected supplies are the following: coffee, transport, non-alcoholic drinks, cinemas, gyms and dance schools, and tourism packages. The continuation of the tax subsidy, originally introduced due to the COVID-19 emergency, is now blamed on an expected rise in food and power costs amid higher international prices for transportation, raw materials, and energy.
Lithuania belongs to hardware-based fiscalization system. That means that it's mandatory to have a fiscal device or some fiscal component that needs to relate to POS. Every cash register must be registered with the State Tax Inspectorate, indicating the address of its installation or the address of the register office or branch or other subdivision. At the end of the business day, the daily reports must be printed, signed by a responsible person authorized by the head of the undertaking and stored together with the printed monthly reports. But from 2023, Lithuania will have a new fiscalization system which will bring some novelties regarding mandatory parts. The main change in fiscalization system in Lithuania is a new component, a new device that will oversee signing transactions and sending data directly to the tax administration. More precisely, in the new system, fiscal module will exist as a hardware component, actually cryptographic device. In practice, will work as a USB device connected with POS. Offline scenario supported, which means that communication and sending data to the tax authorities will not be established in real time. It will be determined in the predated intervals. But, as regulations state right now, it will be obligatory to do it at least once in 72 hours. Also, this component, together with the POS, will need to be certified. Does Lithuania expect the new fiscalization system? The project concerned with change in Lithuania's fiscalization system is called the I.EKA Smart Electronic Cash Register System, also known as Virtual Fiscalization for Cash Registers and Other Points of Sale. The project will modernize and optimize the procedure for using cash registers. The goal of authorities is to reduce the scale of the shadow on the economy. Main novelties are the following. It will be mandatory to transmit fiscal data to the State Tax Inspectorate directly from cash registers. This service will allow taxpayers to abandon the current procedure of printing daily reports, sticking them in paper logbooks, and filling in additional information by hand. As it is announced, it will be possible to modify the currently used cash registers in accordance with the announced new requirements by installing additional hardware and software.
The Minister of Finance and Social Welfare of Montenegro has stated that diversification of the country's economy through new technologies such as blockchain is one of the top priorities in Montenegro. The idea is to approach the topic of taxation of cryptocurrencies from a very specific angle, in a way that practically all flows from the euro to cryptocurrencies will be taxed at lower rates. By doing so, Montenegrin authorities intend to bring a sector that is currently in the gray zone into legal flows, so that the country can collect a good part of the income acquired in this way. The minister sees the blockchain and cryptocurrencies industry as creating new opportunities for payments, protection against inflation, as Bitcoin is of deflationary character due to its limited maximum supply, and easier storage of assets in terms of transfer of ownership. Montenegro adopted the amendments to the law on VAT and law on excise taxes regarding tax reductions. On May 6, 2022, members of the Parliament of Montenegro adopted the amendments to the law on VAT and law on excise taxes. These amendments have enabled the reduction of excise duties on fuel by up to 40%, real estate tax, VAT on basic groceries, for example, the abolishment of VAT on flour and edible oil. The Assembly also decided to increase the price of a pack of cigarettes by about 10 cents from June 1, 2022. Some members of the parliament expressed doubt that citizens will benefit from lower VAT on basic groceries, as they believe that traders will not reduce prices.
The European Commission has approved Poland's project concerning the introduction of mandatory B2B e-invoicing from 2023. Companies will be required to use the national KSEF platform, which is available for voluntary use from January 1st, 2022. More precisely, issuing structured invoices in the FSC is voluntary, available on a pair with the existing forms of invoicing in electronic, in paper form also. Just to remind you, the new invoices, also called Faktura ustrukturyzowana, will be reported to a new national e-invoice system, Krajowy System e-Faktur, by either adapted accounting software or through a government reporting portal. This would be via an application programming interface API.
The Portuguese tax office has further delayed the requirement to adopt the e-invoice format. This requirement has been delayed several times in the past 2 years. More precisely, from January 1st, 2023, the QES, Qualified Electronic Signature, which is recognized as having the same legal value as the signature, will have to be included on PDFs and any non-EDI invoices. In other words, PDF invoices continue to be recognized until 31st December 2022.
With the new law on fiscalization, the government of the Republic of Srpska plans to introduce a fiscal system operator, which will be companies hired to maintain and support electronic fiscal devices, relieving the tax administration of those activities. The tax administration approves the operator of the fiscal system based on the conducted public invitation procedure. New fiscal devices will be used in the upcoming fiscalization model in the Republic of Srpska. New law on fiscalization was recently published in the Republic of Srpska, prescribing different fiscal devices that will be used in this country's new model. New electronic fiscal device will consist of the processor of the fiscal receipts, a secure element, and an electronic system for receipt issuance. They all need to be certified by the tax administration. The basis for the approval procedure will be presented in the technical guide, for which the adoption by the tax authorities is expected in the upcoming 5 to 6 months. In the new fiscalization system, the entire turnover registered in sales will be immediately recorded in the form of an issued QR code that relies on blockchain technology. In case of disappearance or non-existence of internet connection, turnover can be transferred to the tax administration by scanning the QR code and done later. It is practically impossible to falsify receipts with an issued QR code because, in addition to the visually contained elements of the receipts, there is also an element of digital authenticity of each receipt that is easily verifiable by scanning the QR code. New fiscal law in the Republic of Srpska will require fiscalization of sales via vending machines. The proposed fiscalization system is intended to be both technically advanced and simple, so that a self-charging device can be fiscalized and the recording of transactions through such a device will be completely independent and automated. Just like in cases of other electronic fiscal devices, fiscalization of vending machines will require the obligatory elements that make up the fiscal device and are subjected to certification to be approved by the tax authorities in accordance with the new requirements.
The new requirements for fiscalization that will be present in Spain in the future are better known. Namely, a draft of an important provision has been published of billing software requirements and submission of accounting records to the AEAT, which contains some basic principles of the new fiscalization and requirements that will have to be met by taxpayers. The draft is under public discussion. It is expected to enter into force in 2024, but before that, it will have to be passed through additional regulations, law, and technical regulations. Some of the requirements and new regulations are an area of application of decree, characteristics of computer systems, billing systems requirements, the possibility of sending the information to AEAT, integration of billing records in the record books, verification by the AEAT. Thank you for watching.
And see you in 3 months. Bye!